Hi guys, Totallydubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the Proscenic 820S robot vacuum cleaner, which you can see in front of me. Now, the robot vacuum cleaner can be found for around £200 in the UK and $200 in the US. Links will be down in the description below in case you're interested. Now, within the box you'll find a charger unit, which essentially is a docking station for the vacuum cleaner. You've got a cleaning tool, which is handy for clearing out any blockages or any hairs. You've got a remote control, which allows you to, as you might imagine, control the robot from afar. You can also control it via the app. And also there's some boundary controls that you can set. It's not overly long, but it's just worth bearing in mind that you can have this in case if you are, don't want the vacuum cleaner going in certain areas. So without further ado, let's go into this review. I'll first go into the build quality and design of the robot. So first off, the top. The robot comes in one single colour. It's kind of like a mesh type of grey bluish colour. It looks perfectly nice from afar. Underneath, what you'll find is you'll have to install the two edge cleaners, which do as you might expect, essentially bringing in the dirt and bringing them in and filtering them over here. And you can see it's quite dirty over here because I've been doing quite a lot of tests. Now underneath you'll also find the 600ml capacity. This can be accessed by pressing the button and then basically taking it out. When you want to empty it, you simply open this and then tip this into your dustbin. If you want to access the HEPA filter, that's done through here, and this can also be cleaned separately if you so wish, or if it does get dirty, so it's worth bearing in mind. The robot vacuum cleaner will not operate without its dust component in. If I switch it on, which is press the button at the top, and if I were to press start, it will not, it'll just flash red until I actually pop in the unit back in and then press start again, and then it will start doing its thing. So in terms of the build quality design, I have no issues whatsoever. I think they've done a good job in terms of designing it. Now as for the dimensions, the diameter is around 34 centimeters, and in terms of its height, it's around 8 centimeters. Now what this means is that it fits under beds, I would say. It will fit under your sofa, which is great because in hard to reach places with a normal vacuum cleaner, of be it cordless or corded, this thing will go under certain furniture which you wouldn't have been able to clean prior to either moving it or having a certain different type of tool in order to reach those areas. So it's really nice to see the actual robot vacuum cleaner does fit under most furniture. Now in order to operate it, there's a button. These are all touch sensitive. Now I'm not too big of a fan of the touch sensitive buttons, but I must say they do work pretty well, and the integration's done really well. So to switch it on and off, it's to hold on and off the actual on and off button over here. If you want to turn on Wi-Fi, which you will have to activate via the 2.4 GHz frequency only, and here I found it quite a pain because in order to have it working, I had to tether to my phone because the network that I had at home basically diverts it back to the 5 GHz frequency. So in order to enable Wi-Fi, you just have to press down the home button and then it will activate that. Now the home button itself, if you were to press it, the vacuum cleaner will go ahead and search for its docking device. Now the docking device over here does have a little green LED to signify it's on, and basically sends a transmission to the robot vacuum cleaner. And basically what it'll do is it will slowly come up to it and then dock itself and then start charging automatically. No matter where it's placed in the house, the robot vacuum cleaner will go and search and hunt for it. You might also wonder sometimes if you do own this, or if you are thinking of it, if the home button does come on and you think, oh, it's got plenty of battery life, it's not actually coming to charge, it's also coming to tell you that, hey, my rear compartment storage unit over here is full, you need to empty me, so in other words, that I can continue doing my job. Now it's worth bearing in mind that if you're on carpet like I am, this will suck up quite a lot, and therefore you will have to empty it quite regularly. So even though it is made to be autonomous and for it to do its own thing, you just have to bear in mind that it will get full because of its 600ml bin capacity. So that home function is twofold, one for battery and two for it to be emptied out, so you don't have to constantly check to see if it's full or not. It will pretty much notify you if it is. Now another thing it's worth mentioning is the fact that when the button goes red, so in other words, for example, if I were to take out this storage compartment and then tell it to go on, it's not going to do it, it's going to come red. It also goes red if it gets stuck somewhere. So for example, I had it getting stuck in between one of the gaming chairs, and basically it kind of got wedged into it and it couldn't get itself out, and therefore kind of beeped and then had a red light that came on and illuminated. It's worth bearing in mind that that basically means there's an issue somewhere. Come and figure it out, and usually it's just the fact that it's just been jammed somewhere, or sometimes even sucks up some cables, and therefore when it sucks up some cables it will automatically stop as well. Now in terms of actually using the robot vacuum cleaner, it's worth bearing in mind that the vacuum cleaner is a robot vacuum cleaner and therefore has its own little sensors. Now the sensors are at the front and are activated by this kind of bumper type of design. It very much makes sense, and when it does scan a room and figure out the size of the room or the shape of the room, instead of coming up and bumping to one, it will slow down where it kind of knows where the wall is and then gently tap it and continue. It's smart enough to do that, and I must say Proscenic have done a good job in terms of integrating its technology, specifically when it comes to its sensors. So now let's talk about the more interesting parts of the robot vacuum cleaner. First of all, the actual daily usage of it. Now, I had to use the app, and as I mentioned before, I had to tether to another phone in order to get a 2.4 gigahertz frequency. This is a case-by-case scenario. Most routers will automatically divert to a 2.4 gigahertz frequency. However, if they're dual band routers, they might often divert you to the 5 gigahertz frequency unless you specifically name a certain device, such as your smartphone, to run on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. Now, the reason I mention this is rather than a home setup type of issue, I would have liked the vacuum cleaner to actually support the two frequencies. It wouldn't have been hard, and it would have mean that setup in modern day households would have been a lot easier. Now aside that, in terms of the app itself, it's very intuitive, very easy to set up. It's very painless, let's put it that way, and it doesn't require you to do anything specific other than download the app and actually use it. Now initially when you do get the app, it does seem very Chinese orientated, but once you start using the app you'll realize it's all in English and it's very easy again to understand. Now there's a variety of different controls that you can have in terms of commands through the app, be it from changing the type of the speed that it's running at, change the type of way it's cleaning from a one type of room cleaning to a auto clean type of method, and you can even manually control it if you so wish. So therefore, if there's certain parts that you think the robot vacuum cleaner hasn't got to, you can also manually control it. So it all works really well, and I was pretty impressed with the app integration and the way it seamlessly integrates with the robot vacuum cleaner without too much effort. Now let's get into the actual performance side of it. First off, the battery life. Now it takes around 2 to 3 hours to charge, while in terms of actual usage you'll get around 60 minutes of usage. At least that's from my experience. That was using on the normal mode, on carpet and a little bit of hard flooring. It's around 60 to 70 minutes that I got out of it, which is decent in considering other vacuum cleaners, be it cordless vacuum cleaners, even though they will provide a lot higher suction power, will last around that amount of time. It's a decent amount of time. So what about when it comes to raw performance? Well, I tested this over a period of a couple of months, and I found that the vacuum cleaner wasn't that powerful enough to suck up all the dirt. Now, of course, if you had a little bit of debris, like medium-sized debris on your carpet or hard flooring, then the vacuum cleaner will do a perfectly decent job at cleaning those up. However, when it comes to long pile or short pile carpet, what you'll find is the vacuum cleaner just doesn't have enough suction power. Even on the highest mode setting, it really struggles. And you have to remember that really cleaning the carpet is actually getting into the actual carpet rather than just breezing off the surface, because that doesn't really clean your carpet. So in this respect, it was fine at kind of glazing over the top layer of a carpet, and on a hard floor it was decent at picking up medium to larger size debris. However, fine debris such as flour or anything like that, really the vacuum cleaner struggled. over 20 passes I had on even on manual mode and throughout the room as well. When I was trying to test for its flower suction power, it just wasn't as good as a cordless vacuum cleaner. Now of course the one I've got is the Dyson V11, which is one of the best cordless vacuum cleaners out there. However, one pass with the cordless V11 completely demolished the 820S. In other words, I just had to repass over where the 820S had been, at which point I realised what's the point of having this vacuum cleaner when I have to clean after it as well. So in terms of raw suction power, specifically on carpet, it really isn't a device that I would choose. When it comes to hard floor, it's absolutely fine for medium to larger size debris. However, again, I wouldn't choose it for smaller debris. Now the edge cleaning function does work well and it does clean the edges as you'd normally expect. However, on certain, like let's say if you've got a corner, the edge cleaning won't go there because the vacuum cleaner won't be able to fit there. And very rarely did I find it to actually properly clean corners of a room. Whilst with a normal vacuum cleaner, you just pass your brush head over it and you would have cleaned the edge there. Now when it comes to actually overall daily usage and how it compared to a normal vacuum cleaner, I found myself often resorting to my cordless or corded vacuum cleaner. I just didn't have enough trust in the robot vacuum cleaner to actually do its job. Often I would find a little bit of debris, or even after the compartment had gotten full and it was trying to find its way to its home base, which might have been 2 or 3 rooms away, it would leave kind of like droplets of dust on the way because the dust compartment or the bin compartment was too full and kind of was like overloaded and was kind of dropping sort of droplets all the way around on the carpet. So that didn't make it a great experience and kind of felt like I kind of had to take care of it. In some respects, I felt that this robot vacuum cleaner was somewhat like a pet. You couldn't trust it on its own in its own environment, but yet when you were in its own environment and it was doing its thing, then you could kind of look after it and just glance at it. But at which point, if I was doing that, it just kind of takes the logic away of having a robot vacuum cleaner. For me, it meant that I still had to look after it in some respect, or just had to have a glancing eye over it rather than just leave it and just trust that it's going to do everything. As I did mention in the beginning of the video, I do like the fact that it can reach hard to reach places, such as under a bed or under a sofa. However, other than that, I just didn't really see the point, and I just don't understand why someone would want the 820S. So ultimately, that's my verdict. Would I suggest it for most people? Absolutely not. However, if you're someone who has hardwood flooring or hard flooring just generally speaking, and you are not overly dirty and you're not going to be dropping too many things, then yeah, go for it. It will do its job and it will scan out the room and do a relatively good job at it. It's not, however, going to replace your main vacuum cleaner. And that to me was somewhat defeating the point of a £200 vacuum cleaner, where at £200 you can get pretty decent cordless or corded vacuum cleaners which completely outpace it in terms of be it battery life or even in terms of suction power, which to me was the most important part. So there we have it. That's been my honest review. Proscenic, there we go, sent it out for me for review, for an honest review, and here it is. If you've enjoyed this type of content, make sure you give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and favourite and share. As always, I'm an independent, unbiased, unpaid reviewer, so hopefully you'll appreciate that. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care and bye bye.